Yes, yes, yes. Wasn't that fantastic? You can clap if you're in the room. Awesome. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to our spiritual community this beautiful Sunday morning. We are here to celebrate one thing and one thing only, and that is that love is the only infinite divine power, and love is God. God is love. That's who and what you and I are, and that's what we are going to know from this moment forward and evermore, and it doesn't matter what we ever thought in the past. So let's work together to spread that love. Let us celebrate the good. Let's be the beacon of light. And you know what I'm going to encourage everyone to do on this song? Because it's a new month and we have a lot of new music. Get up and dance. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, yes, yes. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a beautiful Sunday morning, isn't it? Yes, it is. Oh. Welcome to Unity of Tucson. I'm Reverend Jonathan Zenz, the senior minister here. Unity of Tucson is a spiritual community, and it is my intention that we are here to teach practical tools to encourage and create a better life for each and every one of us. It is my belief that we can precipitate our own spiritual evolution, and I've actually been involved in a lot of that this past week. As I'm going to talk a little bit about it in my message today, as I have taken 18 magnificent souls through the final week of their ministerial studies and conferred upon them the title of Reverend this week. It's been a really exciting week for me. And they are all committed in their own way to precipitating spiritual evolution. Let's begin, though, with understanding the words of our mission here at Unity of Tucson. Let's read this together as they come up on your screen. And just as a reminder, let us allow ourselves to move into the place of how this feels for us, rather than just reciting it by rote. Here we go. Within the principles of unity, we are a ministry of love, inspiration, learning, wholeness, acceptance, and joy that empowers all people to embrace their divine nature. That's a beautiful mission. And the mission is the practical way that we engage our vision. I talked a lot to these former students, now ministers. I talked a lot this past week about their personal vision for ministry and what does that vision look like? How are they propelling themselves into the world around that vision? You know, my vision is simple, and it is basically rooted in this idea. I believe that personal transformation, personal spiritual transformation is possible, and it is in fact probable because it is the nature of this infinite divine power that we call God. And it is our work to awaken to our magnificence. And so everything that I do, the crazy, like up-tempo songs and the way that I bounce back and forth on the stage, and the quiet moments too, everything I do, everything I offer is in service to this goal, to awaken each and every one of us to our magnificence. The tenets of this vision in my ministry are simple and as easy as we decide for them to be, and they are: love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. And in remembering who we are, I know a magnificent truth about you, and it is that you are love, you are light, you are life, you are magnificent. So allow yourself to feel that and exclaim for yourself, I am magnificent. Ready, everyone who's here? Let's say it. I am magnificent. Indeed you are. Use the chat function in the video for a moment and acknowledge the family, the community that are watching with you today. And allow yourself to say hello. Let them know their magnificence in your own unique, individualized way. And I do want to acknowledge a few people who are in the room who are helping out today and say, I see you. I know that you are magnificent, and I'm grateful for your presence here. Absolutely grateful for your magnificence and the magnificence of each and every one of you. Thank you. And so as we take in that energy of magnificence that is being expressed to and through each and every one of us, let's take it into our hearts for a moment of centering, a moment of quieting, a moment of meditation. As I allow myself to feel the magnificence that is the core of my beingness, and I trust in each and every one of us are doing the same, I recognize and know that the infinite divine power is not something that can be known intellectually. It is a feeling at the heart center. And so I allow myself to be immersed in this feeling. I'm going to say this month's affirmation, a brand new month, and allow it to serve as a mantra for this time, this time of quiet, this time of centering. The affirmation is this: I take purposeful and loving action in every aspect of my life, no matter what. I take purposeful and loving action in every aspect of my life, no matter what. Allow yourself to simply relax right where you are. With that idea in mind, this idea of purposeful, loving action, allow yourself to root into the breath. Simply becoming aware of the breath. Deepening into the realization that there's nothing you need to do to make it happen. It is a natural flow. It is natural and harmonious. It sustains life and is indicative of the infinite circulation of energy, the infinite circulation of love, the infinite circulation of God. I take purposeful and loving action in every aspect of my life, no matter what. And in your own time, in your own way, welcome yourself to this perfect new moment. This new active moment. This moment of perfection. This moment of purpose. This moment of love.
Everything. Remember who you are. Love only. Forgive everything. Remember who you are. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
Right here in this purposeful moment, I allow myself to reflect and know that there is only one infinite divine power. There's only one creative energy. There is only God. There is nothing else. And I allow my personal identity to be rooted in this notion that I am that which is, and every single person that exists, every single thing that exists, every single one of us is that which is. We are this infinite divine power. And trusting and knowing that this is the truth, I lay claim with that power of truth behind me, pushing through into creation. I lay claim to this notion that all is well in this moment and in every moment. And irrespective of anything I see in the world of form, I know who I am at all times, and I act accordingly. I see everyone as the face of God. I know that every single person I encounter is this magnificence. And trusting this, knowing this, and with a grateful heart for this understanding, I simply let it be as I relax, release, trust, know, fall back into the hands of grace and allow. And so it is. Amen.
Love only. Forgive everything. Remember who you are. Love only. Forgive everything. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are.
Thank you. Well, hello, Kathy. Kathy is here to help me today with our weekly ritual that we call Lighting the Flames of Faith. Lighting the Flames of Faith is a ceremony that is near and dear to my heart that I wanted to bring to this community when I started my tenure here as the senior minister. And what it is it is an opportunity for us to honor the faith traditions and the religious paths, the spiritual ideologies of the world, with this understanding that each and every one of them is rooted in love. And so, for each candle that we light, this is my understanding, that every single one is rooted in that divine golden thread of love. And so we light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. And this final candle we light is a candle which represents the healing of any circumstance which requires divinity to be revealed. For it is my understanding that that is the true nature of healing, the revelation of the God energy, the divine creative source at the core of all that exists. And so as we allow that to flow forth, we find ourselves healed in all aspects of our lives. And so this is your candle for whatever is in your mind and in your heart that requires the light. Thank you. The candle here is the peace candle, and I have chosen to keep the peace candle consistently illuminated with this understanding that it is a reflection of the consistent illumination of peace in our hearts. And as we allow that light to spread forth from the core of each and every one of us, we create peaceful experiences in this world, but it all starts here, within each and every one of us. And so let's honor this candle with our prayer for world peace. Let's say this together. Divine love indwells each person and radiates from one to another. Harmony is established and peace begins to reign in the world. Thank you. The featured song of the day. I chose this particular song because it has a lot of, I can go into all the deep meaning for me personally, but it's one of these songs that, let's face it, most people don't know this song. This will be the first time pretty much 99% of you will have heard this song. There are a couple people who will have heard it who are part of the Tucson New Thought community because I had sung it there. It's from a show that I was privileged to be a part of, the original cast of this show. It's a show called A Boy Called Lizard, written by my mentor in ministry, Reverend Dr. James Mellon. And it basically speaks to the core of this entire New Thought philosophy.
Once there was a man who longed to sail the sea, though no one ever had before. His only thought was, why not me? And so he built a boat, the first one of its kind, exactly how he saw it in his mind. Once there was a man who dreamed that he could fly. He never questioned how he would. He never stopped to wonder why. He made a pair of wings and jumped into the blue. He knew he had to make his dreams come true. See it, dream it, until you know. Take it, make it, until it's so, and so it is. Once there was a man like you and me. He wanted more than what he saw. He heard a voice that set him free. It said the world is good. It said that you should know you're part of everything that makes it grow. Doesn't matter what you're taught or what you've learned, you can fly, you can soar. It doesn't matter that it's never been done before. It just takes one to open the door. Once there was a man, might as well be you. Build your boat and make your wings. Dream the things you want to come true. Let your soul remember who you are. There is nothing too high and nothing too far. If you can see it, dream it, until you know. Take it, make it, until it's so. If you can see it, dream it, until you know. Take it, make it, until it's so. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So as I mentioned, I spent this week sitting on ministerial panels to license brand new ministers. And there were 18 students that we were licensing this week. And it's the culmination for them of many years of study. Somebody had asked me, well, how long have they been studying? I said, well, typically the minimum is 6 years of study to come to the point of this week that in the path we call it our intensive week. And what I have found out is, while I thought it was intense when I went through it as a student, it's much more intense for those of us who are serving on the panels, because we are consistently engaged in the experience of it. Whereas, when you're a student, you do your panel and then you walk away and you wait for all of your friends to do their panel. But basically what happens is the week starts off and we gather together. Now, this was all done virtually, which was also a very different experience because I've only done these in person in the past. Usually at a retreat center, and it's a really lovely, we create this little bubble of experience in our retreat center, and we get to hug and all of these lovely things that we just aren't doing right now. So we did this entire ministerial intensive week virtually. And so I was basically staring at a screen and working with these ministerial students all week long. It starts off the first day where seasoned ministers in the field, we offer a 45-minute workshop to the students, and there are workshops all day the first day. There were about 6 of us who gave 45-minute workshops. So if you do the math on that, plus breaks and everything, that's a full day. And then the second day,
we as panelists, we as the seasoned ministers who are making our choices around who is going to be conferred the title of Reverend, we watch them each give 10-minute inspirational talks. Now, a 10-minute talk is infinitely harder than getting up and speaking for 20 to 25 minutes because you really have to get to your point. And so we watch 18 10-minute talks. Now, if you do that math, that's 3 hours without any breaks in between. So it's an entire day of just being saturated with this magnificent inspiration from all of these voices. And then the final days, we did 3 days of interviews. Each student gets an hour-long interview. And so if you do the math there, 18 students is 18 hours spread over 3 days. So it's basically, we interviewed 6 students each day. And at the completion of their interview, the 3 people who are sitting on the panel, we have this wonderful conversation with them, and then we say, okay, we need you to step out of the room, which I love. So the thing I love about Zoom technology now is they've created this waiting room, so you can actually put people outside of the room, and then we have a discussion about it, and then we bring them back in, and one of 2 things happen. We either say, congratulations, Reverend so-and-so, you are officially licensed as a minister, or we have to have a very challenging discussion with them about the reason that we're not moving them forward. I've had to have that challenging discussion in the past, and gratefully this past week with these 18 brilliant minds, I did not have to have that discussion once. So I'm really excited that these 18 students all passed their panels, and they are all now set upon the world to live their ministry. It's a really special time in the life of anyone who has decided to move through this path to be able to step up and do what it is we do in ministry. And not every minister has the intention of being what we call a pulpit minister, which is essentially what I do. I have chosen in my life that I want to be a senior minister in a community, and I want to be the one who delivers the primary message every Sunday. Not every minister does that, and frankly, thank goodness, because we need the ministers who are doing the staff ministry work and the assistant ministry work and the work in the work in passionate care. And we need those people. We need those people. And it's so many of these magnificent souls, that is their desire, is to step up and serve in ways that are not just like this. There are 2 things that I explained to these students that I am deeply, deeply passionate about, irrespective of the type of ministry that any of us are moving into. That I think this is the way we actually engage the practical tools to change the world for the better, to create that magnificent world that I envision. These 2 things are spiritual community and spiritual education. That I believe when we take the time to engage in spiritual community, understanding that word literally means a common unity. When we understand that we are living in spiritual community, and the point of view becomes the equalizing understanding that we are that infinite divine power, which is why I firmly hold in my resolve this notion that I am God and so are you. When I understand that that is the truth of all creation, then that spiritual common unity changes the experience of the world. And I'm not going to go down the path as I did last week of talking about all the craziness. Well, I might go down. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to allow Spirit to speak through me. It is not my intention, right, in this moment, to go down the path of talking about all the hardships that we are facing in this world, with all of the protests in the streets, some of which have been turning violent, some of which are intensely peaceful. It is not my decision today to talk about that specifically, but I really, really want us, each and every one of us, to step into that notion that if we know who we are, which is why that tenet of my vision for ministry that I have taken, frankly, from my mentor, that tenet, remember who you are, is so important. When we remember who we are, we change the world. That's what it is to be in spiritual community, to be in common unity with the understanding that there is absolutely no separation between that which you are, the infinite creative energy that you are, and the infinite creative energy that I am. And when we understand that, life gets better. And we can precipitate this notion, we can precipitate this idea through spiritual education. It is through spiritual education, I believe, that we develop spiritually based life skills. Which is why it is also important to me that this entire New Thought philosophy not just be an activity of the mind, that it is an activity of deepening in our practice so that the practical application of spiritual principles becomes primary in our life. Practical application is the most important aspect of this entire philosophy to me. I don't care if you know all the words of wisdom that have ever been written. If we cannot put it into practice in our life, it doesn't matter. And you know how to put it into practice in your life? I'm going to tell you the secret. This is how you put it into practice in your life. I can say it in 2 words. Love only. Love only. Love is the energy of divinity. Love is God. In some fashion, all faith traditions teach that concept, that love is God. God is love. There is absolutely no separation. Love is that impulse of creation. God is not something out there. God is that thing which is propelling us, that life force within each and every one of us to do what it is we choose to do in this world. How magnificent that notion is. I believe that there are people, including you, who may have come to a unity church or a religious science church or a divine science church or a non-affiliated New Thought church of some sort, trying to find God, looking for that thing, looking for God. Because we have been raised with this notion that God is something out there which is to be brought here. If we are open to it, that is actually what we find. We find God within the New Thought philosophy. We find God within the principles of unity. We find God, but it's not in the church, it's not in the building, it is us. It is the magnificent interaction of spiritual community. It is that deepening understanding that love is the only power. We find that we are the power we seek. That's what the benefit for me of stepping into this philosophy and embracing this philosophy in my heart has been, that I know who I am and I am the power that I was seeking. And then I will tell you the joke that I was dragged kicking and screaming into a New Thought service the first time I ever went. Well, kicking and screaming. See, now there are people at Tucson New Thought who know what brought me to a service the first time. So this will be news to perhaps most of the people in Unity. The reason that I went to my very first service at a New Thought church was because I was being set up. I was being invited there to meet a guy. And I was very resistant to it at first because in my upbringing, I was not raised in church, and I had a construct in my mind that was antithetical to what I understood church to be because I grew up as a gay man, and there's a rift with the understanding of what it is to be in religion and the gay community. There's a rift there. And so I had embodied that rift in my own heart, and so it was not something that I thought I would ever do. Me go to church? Are you kidding me? No way! And so they finally convinced me. The person who was like, I know this guy, oh, you're going to really like him. By the way, he's not my husband now. But I know this guy, and you're going to really like him. You should really come meet him. I'm like, okay, one Sunday's not going to kill me. So I go, and I sit down, and I met this guy, and we sat next to each other, and he was lovely. And like I say, he's not now my husband, so that clearly did not work out in the way that this person who was trying to set us up thought it would. But I will tell you, I did find the love of my life in that experience because I found me. I found me. I found that love within myself. And as I was listening to the minister who was on stage that particular day, as I listened to the words that were coming out of that mouth and knowing that they were hitting me, not on an intellectual level, although there was an intellect involved, as they were hitting me on a heart level, my life was magnificently changed in that moment. I found me. And I learned that I could begin to stand up, and I could begin to stand out. And it was my birthright to live the most magnificent life I possibly could. And this is the power that each and every one of us has. The value of staying in that community, ultimately, is that yes, it diverted what I thought my path was going to be, but it put me on the path of perfection. That path of perfection has brought me to this moment, right here, at this time, and in this space. And I've talked about the challenge of this particular experience of having to be virtual. But there's something that came up in the ministerial panels this week, that as I was engaged in this virtual experience there and knowing that, we're all connected virtually on Sundays and we are having this experience that is unusual, that I do not hold to the notion any longer that the quote-unquote brick and mortar church is dying. Because that's what a lot of people are saying. As you see attendance drop in spiritual centers and in churches all over the country, everyone is saying, oh, that model is dying, you have to find something new. That model is not going to be sustainable, you have to find something new. It has always been part of my ministry, always, that I present virtually as well as with people in the room, because I had held on to that idea that the brick and mortar church was on its way out, and that at some point it was going to become exactly what we're experiencing right now, entirely virtual. I don't hold to that any longer, because what this pandemic has proven is that there will always be a need for gathering spaces. There will always be a need for people to commingle in common unity, to be able to hug each other, to be able to be with one another. And it is a challenge. I get it. It is a challenge right now to not be able to have that experience. But that's going to change. I don't know when, but it is going to change, because this model is not sustainable. That's what I've discovered. This model is not sustainable. It will always be part of what we do, but I think we need to be expanding the possibilities of what is possible and what is probable in terms of allowing people to come to their deepest understanding of their spiritual magnificence, whether it's in the room or online, it doesn't matter. Everything can be the experience of spirit. Everything can be church. Everything. Walking the labyrinth out here, walking the meditation path, taking time in nature. Every place you go, it is the church unto your life. And when we can meet in this room once again, how magnificent that will be. I want to encourage you to prepare your mind for the best life has to offer, because we are in a period of transformation. We are crossing a threshold, which is one of the messages I heard from one of the students in their talk last Tuesday. We are in the experience of crossing the threshold. We can learn, and I think we are learning right here and right now, to engage in that notion purposefully. We are experiencing right here and right now liminal space. That space in between, that space of discomfort, that space of the threshold, that space of transition. It is not the subliminal, it is not the superliminal, it is right in the middle. We are deeply engaged in an experience of extended living in liminal space. Are you all comfortable with that? Because I'm not comfortable with it. But sometimes the discomfort is required to allow ourselves to know what it is we would like to experience next. And in that liminal space, we get to make the choice around how we cross that threshold. I am living easy for me to say, I am living in anticipation for what will be. But here's what I know, is that I will maintain myself in that liminal space, in that anticipatory space for what will be, as long as I have not yet let go of that which was. I think all humanity right now is experiencing a collective rite of passage because we have been forced to live in that liminal space, the space between. The expression of who we are, once we have crossed that threshold, the expression of who we are on the other side of this experience will be a shift toward something. That is guaranteed. It will be a shift toward something. And you know what's super exciting for me? We get to decide if that something is a better world or something else. When we step up, when we step out, when we move beyond that liminal space, who and what will we be? And can we engage in that new expression of who and what we will be, free of judgment of the way others are showing up in the way that they have crossed that threshold into who and what they are going to be? This month, the month of June, it never fails. It just never fails. I've said many times from this exact spot, I normally do not plan ahead in terms of what my theme is going to be or what my talk is going to be, much to the chagrin of everybody who are supporting me and trying to put a service together, because I don't know what I'm going to talk about on a Sunday, but what I do know is that this year, for some reason, I was compelled to step into making some choices well in advance. And so last December, I chose the theme for this month to be Spirits in Rebellion. Be careful what you wish for. So this month is all about spirits in rebellion. And here's the thing. What it was intended to be was tapping into that nature of understanding that all who have preceded, each and every one of us who were involved in this new thought philosophy, they were the spirits in rebellion. It's actually the name, it's the title of the book that outlines the history of new thought. The book is called Spirits in Rebellion. And so I took that on. I said, I want to really engage in this understanding of what it is to be a contemporary spirit in rebellion, with the understanding that I have a connection to a history of spirits in rebellion. I am a fan of the notion that we are rooted in a rebellious nature. And the actual meaning is the history of new thought. The adjusted meaning. And I am stepping into a place where I am taking it on as an adjusted meaning, which is to say that rebellious nature is activating a conscious shift right here and right now, showing up as change in this world. We get to decide who we are in this shift. Are we the ones in our spiritually rebellious nature, are we the ones who will welcome a new world, or will we be the ones who are fighting it? Will we be the ones who express more love, more light, more life, more compassion as we progress? Or will we regress in a combative way? I think that's part of what I see happening in the world right now, is that very paradigm. Are we going to progress or are we going to regress? Are we living our future, or are we being dragged by our past? I've seen so many combative stances this week. I have felt my own challenge in wanting to see the world in us versus them terms, but that is not who I have chosen to be. I have chosen to understand that irrespective of differences of opinion, differences of ideology, that every single person I encounter is God. That when I see you, all I see is the face of God. This world is comprised of infinite hues on the spectrum of experience. It wasn't that long ago. Well, it was long ago enough now that I don't remember if it was from this stage or another stage, but it was sometime this year. I spoke about the expression of life being like a stained glass window. All the hues of that window make up the beauty of life. All the hues of the window make up the beauty and the collective experience of magnificence. Without the collective, we simply become shards, incohesive and alone. Our work is to stand up, to stand out, and shine our light. And in shining our light, we can never diminish the light of others. It is impossible to diminish or dim others' light because the light is infinite. So you can shine your light, you can stand up, you can stand out in a way that supports the whole. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to say, I am part of this infinite cohesion that supports the whole? When we make that choice, we are actively living in integrity. Imagine this stained glass window behind me. It's so funny because I've never referred to it before. I love this, by the way, even though I know that sometimes in the camera angle where I stand, it looks like I'm wearing a wizard's hat. I love this. But imagine any part of that missing, it is no longer in integrity. So are you willing to be part of the cohesive whole in the stained glass window of life? Are you willing to live in integrity, to understand your nature, to remember who you are, to live that magnificent light? And this brings me then to the very first talk I heard on Tuesday, that first 10 minutes where I actually sat through that 10 minutes and I thought, oh, this student has set the bar very high for the 17 students who are following. In that 10 minutes, her entire talk was basically focused around the notion of what is ours to do in the world. And she asked this question, and I just loved the way that this question unfolded. She said, what is your verb? If we are living lives of activity, if we are living lives of action, what is your verb? How are you living a life of activity? What is the action of your magnificent life? Who do you choose to be, and in what fashion will you lead your life? Because she came to this notion when, she was listening very attentively in class, I'm sure, and into all of the seasoned ministers who were working with her this past week, and she heard this. Minister is not a noun. Minister is a verb. And when we take that to heart, when we as ministers take that to heart, then we cannot be anything but leading with love in every activity of our life. And it is ours to shine the light, to be the example, to be a way shower in this world, to show how to lead with love. That is what we have committed ourselves to doing as ministers. That's what I believe. Other ministers may have a difference of opinion, and that's okay. But that's what I believe. What is it that we are going to do in standing up and stepping out? Are we going to lead with love? Will you gracefully move through that liminal space that we inhabit and emerge from this entire experience of a perception of challenge as a better version of yourself? Can you leave behind the things that do not serve you? No matter how comfortable those things were, because that's the reason we hold on to those things from the past, because we wrap themselves like a blanket. We're comfortable within them. Are you willing to let it all go? To let go of everything you thought you knew, to let go of every aspect of comfort that you thought you had, and step through that liminal space, leading with love only and understanding that you were always held in the hands of grace. no matter how comfortable those things were, are you ready to move past them? I have often found that when we are poised and ready to move past something once and for all, that thing fights like hell to stay in our experience and maintain its hold on us. It is the last gasp of a dying fear. That's a quote that I have held in my heart for the better part of 12 years from Reverend Donna Michael in Nashville, Tennessee. I have often found that when we are poised and ready to move past something once and for all, it fights like hell to stay in our experience and maintain its hold on us. It's the last gasp of a dying fear, and I had a real challenge with utilizing that last sentence in particular, given the circumstances of our world right now. The last gasp of a dying fear. What a challenging thing to step up and say. But here's how I want to help us all understand what is happening in our world right now. This is what I have come to. The world is literally looking for inspiration. Inspiration. The word is literally related to breath. And so for me, it is no mistake that what has been so prevalent are the final words of George Floyd saying, "I can't breathe." As challenging as that is, it is a reflection of what the entire world is looking for right now. It is not lost on me that COVID-19 is primarily a respiratory illness. We are collectively living in that need for breath. We are collectively living in that need for inspiration. And I can tell you exactly how we can find it. Choose to, in your own heart, to decide today to stand up. To choose today to decide to stand out. Decide today to engage in the collective breath that our society needs. And here's what I know. You, each and every one of you, are a point at which life gets better. Namaste. I'm going to invite you to breathe, to allow yourself to take that focus into the breath. To allow the body to relax. To simply allow. To allow an easeful and harmonious activity of inspiration to take hold. Recognizing that physicality is reflective of the infinite consciousness that is flowing through each and every one of us. And in this particular liminal space, I invite you now to reflect on a kernel of truth, an idea that you get to walk away with today. Let that idea be fully present in your heart right here, right now. Allow yourself to drop down.
I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love. As we step into this now time of giving, this time of offering, I want to lead with gratitude in this moment, with this deepest understanding that gratitude is an affirmation that right here, right now, each and every one of us is living in heaven. Because heaven is a state of mind, and when we live in gratitude, we cannot help but live in that consciousness of heaven. And so I'm grateful for the way that you support this ministry. I'm so grateful for the way that you are supporting this experience, even though it is unusual for each and every one of us. And so I encourage you to give from your heart with gratitude in that feeling space. And you can give in many ways. You can give on the website at unitytucson.com, going there, clicking on the link there. You can phone in your card, debit or credit card. You can phone it into the office during regular office hours, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. now till 5:30 p.m., extending a little bit, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. You can also send in a check through the mail, and we are happy and grateful to receive and know that it moves through this time in this place to do magnificent work in spreading this message of love only, forgive everything, and remembering who you are. So money is God in action. Let us keep it in action. Let's read together the Divine Givingness statement, which will appear magically on your screen. Here we go. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I joyously contribute to my spiritual center, knowing that it goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless, and returns to me multiplied abundantly. I thankfully acknowledge God as my source. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself.
Here are your announcements.
Good morning, everyone. Here are your Unity of Tucson announcements for Sunday, June 7th, 2020. Chat live with Reverend Jonathan every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 o'clock p.m. Arizona time using Zoom. Consider it a virtual coffee break with friends old and new. The link for this web-based meeting is also in the description of this video. Bears in the Chairs is happening now. Participate in our annual event to collect new and unwrapped stuffed animals, which we will then donate as a community to Aviva, an agency supporting youth as they transition into foster care. While our activities continue to be virtual, you can drop off a stuffed animal during regular office hours. We will continue to collect stuffed animals until the end of July. Is it in your heart to serve Unity of Tucson in a leadership role? A position on the board of directors is open, and we would love to consider you. For information on requirements and responsibilities, please send an email inquiry to either Rev. Jonathan at unitytucson.com or President at unitytucson.com. As always, don't forget to join us online for midweek spiritual practice, streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Get your midweek pick-me-up and a reminder of your inner truth every Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Prayer requests are always accepted by sending an email to prayer@unitytucson.com. Don't forget that the activity of requesting what you need is the first step towards healing. The links for all of our virtual offerings can be found at unitytucson.com. Keep an eye out on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube to keep up with everything that's going on. Thank you for being here and sharing your magnificence with us.
Beautiful. Thank you, Darwin. So I wanted to acknowledge the fact that we are now going to be open Monday through Thursday from 9 until 5:30 because what many people may not know because we haven't been around the office is that our administrator, Joy, has decided to step away from Unity of Tucson, and we have hired a new administrator. The administrator, we've turned it into a full-time position. So we're going to welcome, the funny thing is, he says everybody calls him Freddie, and I have yet to call him Freddie. I know him as Frederick, and I haven't actually acknowledged the fact that I want to be able to call him Freddie, but his name is Frederick, and I will call him Freddie, but we're going to bring Freddie into the mix and welcome him to the Unity family as our new church administrator starting tomorrow on Monday. And so, starting tomorrow, we will be open. The offices will be open from 9 until 5:30 every day. The other thing is I've gotten a couple calls around the bookstore. And what's happening in the bookstore right now is we've tried to dissuade it from being open, but what I will say is that if you want to come to the bookstore, call ahead, just make an appointment, let us know that you're coming, and we will happily let you in. You can browse and see what's happening, and we're very happy to have you join us in the bookstore. And don't forget, too, that, you can still utilize the labyrinth and the meditation path and everything, that the grounds of Unity are still accessible and available to you, even if we're not necessarily letting everybody into the building at the moment. I want to say thank you to Wally and to Don for your magnificent support today in terms of allowing this technical world to happen so that we can be virtual. And I want to say thank you to Kathy for helping me with lighting the lights today, lighting the candles. Grateful for you always. I want to say thank you to a few people who have been in the room today who are helping out with actually some of the office. We're redoing the offices a little bit. And I want to say thank you for being here and allowing me to have some people to talk to as well that are faces. And I want to say thank you to the band, of course, always. And I really want to say thank you to every single one of you who are out there in this virtual world and living your magnificent life in your physical space, but allowing me to be with you in this way. I'm grateful for this community, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve in this manner, and I look forward to the more and the more and the more in the way that we expand. As we complete our time here, I'm going to invite you to share with me the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am that light. The love of God enfolds me. I am that love. The power of God protects me. I am that power. The presence of God watches over me. I am that presence. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever God is, I am. And so it is. Amen.
Now there is peace on earth, for it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Thank you, God, for peace on earth, for it has begun with me. If you think there's nothing new under the sun, if it's possible, it's already been done. If you think the stage has all been set, think again. You ain't seen nothing yet. The sun'll come up with a wave of your hand. You're smack dab in the middle of the promised land. It all turned out just the way that you planned. Believe it, you will see it. If you think you finally made your bed, there ain't nothing down that road ahead. If you think this is as good as it gets, wanna bet? You ain't seen nothing yet. The sun'll come up with the wave of your hand. You're smack dab in the middle of the promised land. It all turned out just the way that you planned. Believe it, you will see it. Believe it, you will see it. And you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. And you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. Make it a magnificent week, everyone.